As a child, flying into Puerto Rico was like going to Disneyland. I spent many summers on the island of my birth, and I always hoped for a seat where I could see the ocean and Old San Juan. That's the left side of the plane. For this flight, I chose the right side because I wanted to see the houses. I wanted to see what the island looked like after Maria. You don't really expect it, even though you know you're going to see it. The FEMA blue tarps on the roofs crushed me almost immediately. Our family apartment is in an area of San Juan called Isla Verde. My 80-year-old parents had already been on the island for 3 weeks living with no electricity. The road in front of our apartment is usually packed with cars. Now, dark, no streetlights. All the bus shelters destroyed. All the billboards gone. Price gouging is evident at the grocery store. We could only get 1 bag of ice per person. Luckily, when we got back to the apartment, the lights came on. My mom praised God that we would have a warm shower in the morning. We didn't know how long we would have electricity, though. And the rest of the island, outside the capital, they weren't seeing the lights, and who knows when they will.
The last month, that was wild. No water, no light. Hard to find the water, the suministers for the kids and the family is hard.
This is Jose, one of my cousins who lives in the city of Sidra. That's about an hour or so outside of San Juan, south in the mountains.
Too many people lost their jobs because they live for the United States. Right now, it's living around like 200,000 people, I guess, in a few months, in 2 months, I guess. Difícil. Todo el mundo sobreviviendo. Todo más caro.
Llegamos a los años 40, la gente lavando en tabla a mano y entonces de noche cocinando la gente con carbón porque el que tiene estufa eléctrica no hay luz. Entonces pues que los cilindros de gas se fueron a volar. O sea, muchas cosas bien tristes. Ahí Sidra estamos bien, pero hay muchos pueblos internos bien profundos. Que hay un señor que le puso Doña María, los dejó matados. ¿Entiendes?
My mother grew up here and didn't leave the island until 1958 when she went to the mainland for college.
The trees, they were huge, they would cover the whole area.
We walked around her town, where I spent my summers with my grandparents and my sisters.
That one over there, was a bench underneath, it was huge, and I used to sit with my boyfriend.
It looks like a bomb has gone off. This is what you see when you drive anywhere outside of San Juan. These are trees completely stripped clean. Vegetation is starting to grow back, but a lot of the trees are gone. My parents commented on how many more houses they could see in the mountains since the trees were blown away. Everywhere, we're driving over downed power lines.
Wires down.
Electrical poles bent in half. Landslides still not cleaned up 2 months later. The home my family lived in before we moved to Arizona in 1976 is just outside of Sidra on a twisting mountain road.
This is bad.
It's now a day home for the elderly, but there are no people here today. My mom is devastated when she sees this pine tree.
My brother's pine tree. We planted in his honor.
My father planted this pine tree in the early 60s in honor of the uncle I never met. He died in a boating accident near here. This pine tree withstood a lot of storms on the island, and you can see it from miles away driving up the road. Now, it's shredded, and it will never be green again.
Oh, that's a disaster.
It's hard seeing my mother look at our old home, look at our island, and see it like this. And as we drive around the island, pointing out things that are destroyed. But we can leave Puerto Rico. We can go home. Others cannot and will not leave the island.
More than 2 hours that we were pushing water out so we could.
We have been about 2 hours, 3 hours straight, trying to keep up with the water that was coming in.
I visited another cousin of mine. We're all cousins on the island, regardless of our actual relations. Sharon and Marco Lopez live west of San Juan in Dorado. During the hurricane, water started coming from their roof, pouring into their home, then cascading down the stairs and flooding the first floor. The winds and rain were blowing the front door open.
And it was about to explode during the hurricane. It kept banging the door, and these locks would just go down, and this one would go up because it doesn't go all the way down. So I had to continue to do this throughout the hurricane every, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, so you have to do that again. And we placed like a wood here, just to hold this. And weights and everything we could use to, hold this from blowing away.
He had to do this for hours.
It was forecasted that probably the eye of the hurricane was going to come, that was going to exit anywhere between Manatee and Vega Baja and this town, and it did, and it was huge. So it blasted Dorado, Vega Alta, Vega Baja.
For a week after the hurricane, they were without food, and Marco and his neighbors had to patrol the streets with guns to keep looters out of their home.
Like a week after the hurricane, the American Red Cross and volunteers came in, and we had fresh fruit for the first time in like 2 weeks, and they gave us juice and they gave us dried milk, and we really thanked them, but we cried. We cried with stuff in our hands. We started crying because we couldn't believe that we were not able to get that for our kids ourselves.
They have 2 small children, the oldest still scarred by the hurricane itself and the aftermath.
All his drawings were tornadoes and winds,
dark clouds, winds,
thunders,
rains,
thunderstorms, and everything, and all the trees falling.
And he sees a cloud down, when it's just a rainy day, and he starts, getting nervous and saying that a hurricane's gonna come, and the Maria's coming back, and the tornadoes are coming.
The day that he broke down, that he really fell apart, he said to me, "Mama, I'm a big kid and I'm strong, but I don't think I'm big enough to manage this."
I shot this video more than 60 days past Hurricane Maria obliterating Puerto Rico. And this is what you still see. 60 days later, impassable roads, homes near cliffs about to topple, utter devastation. And people leaving the island with no plans to return.
I think most of them will just stay there, will just leave. All this phenomenon has put into perspective, how fragile our infrastructure is, and how bad is the economic situation in terms of the government not having the resources that they used to have to handle this sort of situation. The people that were having, 50-50, having doubts if they wanted to stay here or not, that settled it for them, and I don't think they're probably coming back.
An old family friend and his wife live in the mountains outside of Galle, southwest of San Juan, directly in the path of Hurricane Maria's eye.
I don't think there was a tree standing up, and if it was, it had no leaves on it whatsoever. It was completely devastated. You went through the main road here, and it looked like a mystery movie because it looks really, really creepy.
Downed power lines marked their property, and the roads to them were impassable for days and still are in some spots.
It was fairly slow, right? Getting things more or less working. And that has been an issue because I find that 60 days after the storm, we're still having a lot of problems.
Angel is living off a generator, $500 a month in diesel fuel, and it's not even on all the time, only in the mornings and at night to help with cooking. He's concerned now with the future of Puerto Rico as they try to rebuild.
We have joined 2 big forces that was already there, and now the devastation of the island, and the help from the states compared to other natural disasters has been a little bit slow. As you know, President Trump is not very eager to spend money here in Puerto Rico, And I don't know how that finally is going to affect us, but I imagine it will.
For now, all Puerto Ricans wait and do what we can to make sure the island is rebuilt, with or without the U.S. government's help.